Imagine two people. They earn the exact same salary. They both work 40 hours every week. 20 years later, one is worth over $1 million. The other is still living paycheck to paycheck. The scary part, it's not because one worked harder, because one understood something that nobody ever taught me. When I was growing up, I thought that becoming wealthy was simple. Get good grades, get a good job, work for 40 years, and then retire. That's what we're told. And honestly, for most people, that's how life goes. Wake up, go to work, get paid, pay bills, and repeat. Week after week, month after month, year after year, until one day you wake up and wonder where the last 30 years went. The strange thing is, school teaches us algebra, history, science, geography, but somehow they never teach us how money actually works. They don't teach us what inflation is. They don't teach us compound interest. They don't teach us investing. They don't teach us why assets matter. And because of that, millions of people spend their entire lives working for money instead of learning how to make money work for them. Now, before we go any further, I want to make one thing clear. I'm not sitting here to pretend to be some millionaire investor. I'm still learning. I've only recently started investing myself. Over the last few months, I've realized something that completely changes the way I think about money. And honestly, I wish somebody had explained it to me years ago. Understanding this one idea could drastically change your financial future. Most people believe that becoming rich, all you need to do is earn more money. Sounds obvious, right? If I got a better job, then I'd finally build wealth. If I just earned another $20,000, if I would have just gotten promoted. But here's the problem. Income and wealth are two separate things. Read that again. Income is what you earn. Wealth is what you keep. That, my friend, is a massive difference. Imagine two people. Person A earns $150,000 a year. Person B earns $75,000 a year. People automatically assume that person A is more wealthier. But what if person A spends almost everything they earn? A new car, designer clothes, expensive holidays, afterpay, credit card, eating out every night. Now imagine person B. They live below their means. They invest consistently every month. They avoid lifestyle inflation. 10 years later, who do you think is actually wealthier? Wealth isn't about looking rich. It's about owning things that grow while you sleep. That's the biggest mindset shift I've ever had. Rich don't simply earn money. They buy assets. The average person buys liabilities. Money behaves exactly like a seed. If you eat every seed, you'll never grow a forest. But if you plant one, that seed becomes a tree. That tree produces hundreds more seeds. Those seeds produce even more trees. Eventually, you don't have just one tree. You have an entire forest. Money works exactly the same way. Problem is, most people eat every seed they earn instead of planting it. Before you think I'm saying never enjoy life, that's not what I'm saying. Spend money, travel, buy nice things, enjoy yourself, but understand something. Every dollar you spend can only be spent once. Every dollar you invest, however, has the potential to grow for the rest of your life. Now here's the part that completely blew my mind when I first understood it. Because money can actually become your employee. And once you understand that, never look at investing the same way. Now here's where almost everyone gets it wrong. When people think about investing, they immediately think they need to become experts. They think they need to predict the next Tesla. They need to find the next Nvidia. Or buy some miscellaneous cryptocurrency that's gonna 100x overnight. And that's exactly why most people never start. because they think that investing is making the perfect decision, but it's not. It's about making enough good decisions over a long period of time. Imagine two people. The first person spends their time watching investing videos every morning, reading Reddit, checking the news every morning, trying to predict every market move. The second person learns the basics in a few weeks, picks a diversified investment strategy, then invests automatically every fortnight. Fast forward 20 years. Who do you think is more likely to win? Usually, the second person. Because consistency beats intelligence when it comes to investing. There's something called analysis paralysis. The more information you consume, the more harder it is to actually make a decision. You convince yourself you'll need one more book, one more YouTube video, one more opinion. Before you know it, months have passed, maybe even years, and you've invested nothing. The market doesn't reward people who know the most. It rewards the people who stay invested the longest. Because investing isn't an IQ game, it's a behavior game. Here's something that I wish someone told me earlier. Trying to get rich quickly usually keeps people poor. You see someone online turn 5,000 into 100,000 trading options. Someone else makes millions with crypto. What you don't see are the thousands of people who lost everything trying to copy them. Social media only shows survivors. That's why my channel, I don't fake stuff. I show everything. Doesn't show the people who fail. The thing is, the wealthiest investors don't rely on luck. They rely on probability. Instead of asking, how can I double my money this year? They ask, how can I keep growing my money for the next 30 years? That's a completely different mindset. Now, coming back to the tree analogy, think of investing like planting a tree. You don't plant a seed today and expect shade tomorrow. You water it, you protect it, you give it time at first. It feels like nothing's happening. Weeks go by, months go by, sometimes even years. But underneath the surface, the roots are growing. Then eventually, everything changes. The growth becomes obvious. Investing works exactly the same way. The hardest part is trusting the process before you even see results. That's why most people quit, not because investing doesn't work, but because it works too slowly for people who expect instant gratification. We've become so used to getting everything immediately. Foods delivered in minutes, movies instantly, social media, dopamine every few seconds. That's when something takes years. It feels broken. The greatest things in life have always taken time. Building a business, getting fit, learning a new skill, all of them take time. So one thing I would say to you, stop chasing the shortcuts. Stop thinking you need to become some financial genius before you even invest, because the people quietly building wealth usually aren't making exciting decisions. They're making boring decisions over and over again. And those boring decisions eventually create extraordinary results. Now here's the part nobody talks about. Let's say you're 20 years old, you save up $10,000, you finally invest it, and then the market crashes, let's say 30%. Almost overnight, your portfolio worth drops to $7,000. For most people, that's where they quit. They think they made a mistake. They think investing doesn't work. But that's because nobody explained what was actually happening. Imagine this, you walk into a supermarket. Yesterday, your favorite protein powder cost $100. Today it's on sale for $70. Do you complain or do you buy another one? Most people would happily buy more. But when the stock market goes on sale, people panic. They suddenly stop investing, or even worse, they sell. That's completely backwards. Because if you're investing for retirement or for financial freedom into 20 to 30 years, a market crash isn't bad news. It's a discount. The biggest fortunes in history weren't made because it was perfectly timed on the market. They were built by people who consistently invested, while people who were afraid. Every major crash eventually looked tiny, spread on a long enough chart. The dot-com crash, the global financial crisis, even COVID at the time. People thought the world was ending, and years later, that barely visible bumps. History doesn't repeat exactly, but it rhymes. And this is why investing is more psychological than mathematical, in my opinion. Anyone can learn what an ETF is. Anyone can learn compound interest. Very few people can control their emotions. Investing isn't exciting. The one thing that I had to accept is that investing is boring. And that's a good thing. Social media makes you believe that making money is exciting. Constant trades, constant notifications, charts moving every second, buying the newest cryptocurrency, trying to double your money overnight. The people quietly investing every fortnight, ignoring the noise, continuing during crashes. Those are usually the people who wake up one day and realize that they've made hundreds and thousands of dollars. Not because they were smarter, but because they stayed consistent. Now, there's a quote I love. The stock market is a device used to transfer money from the impatient to the patient. Read that again. From the impatient to the patient. That sentence alone explains investing more than most of the financing courses out there. Focus on increasing your income. When you're young, your biggest investment isn't actually the stock market, it's yourself. Let's say you invest $500 a month. That's fantastic. Keep doing it even. But imagine instead you learn a valuable skill, you get promoted, you change careers, or you even build a side income. Now, instead of investing $500, you're investing 1.5k every month. Which one made the bigger difference? Which one made the greater return? For most people, increasing income early matters even more than chasing an extra 1 or 2% return. That's why I spend so much time learning, reading books, making YouTube, learning about investing, learning communication, because every skill increases your earning potential. Every increase in earnings becomes more opportunities to be invested in. Then the investments start working for you. It's a cycle. Learn, earn, invest, and repeat. Another thing that I want to talk about is stop comparing yourself. One thing social media has destroyed is perspective. You'll see someone your age driving a Lamborghini, someone making $100,000 a month, another showing millions in crypto, and suddenly you feel behind. But you have absolutely no idea what's happening behind the camera. Debt, leased cars, family money, fake screenshots, or maybe they're genuinely successful. But either way, it doesn't matter because none of that changes your own journey. The only person you need to beat is the version of yourself from last year. Last year you had no savings, and this year you invested $5,000. You're winning. If last year you knew nothing about finance and now you're reading books on money and stocks, you're winning. Most people think that investing is about becoming rich. I don't think it is. I think investing buys something much more valuable. Options. The option to leave the job you hate. The option to spend more time with your family. The option to take risks. The option to say no. Money doesn't solve every problem, but a lack of money creates many unnecessary ones. Imagine waking up one day, knowing your investments now pay for your lifestyle, then eventually all of it. That's freedom, not because you're driving a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, but because nobody owns your time anymore. If you're watching this and you're still young, you still have something incredibly valuable, time. You don't need thousands of dollars. You don't need to perfectly predict the market. You don't need to be a financial genius. You just need to start, because every year you delay is 1 year compound interest can't work for you. 5 years from now, you'll either be grateful you started or you wish you had. The choice is yours. One day, your future self is going to look back at this moment. Make sure they thank you for it. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing for more videos on investing, self-improvement, and building long-term wealth. And always know that I'm rooting for you and always looking from afar. See you in the next one.